You ever like listen to those like news shows or like a podcast where someone comes on, they're like, you know, I think
All of NPR.
Oh man,
and just like, oh God, why?
Yeah, there was one particular person, I don't remember who it was on NPR, that was like, I would almost crash my car into a tree on the drive into the office because
on purpose.
Like, oh yeah, just to end it all because I couldn't handle that between every word.
Yeah, there's one guy on there that I feel like, like I don't know, I can't tell.
No, well, don't. Where are we landing on swearing on this? We're gonna beep out the cuss words or no?
No.
It's just
I think this is anybody who's listening to this.
I think. Well, I'm excited for the children to listen.
I think the children are going to listen either way.
All right, listen up, you little fucks. Very nostalgic to watch that particular episode because, as listener at home might not know, that actually was our pilot. Certain scenes from that are from the pilot, and that was based on the home movie version of the show that we cooked up.
It was actually a combination of the first two home movies that we used to sell the show. That first scene where I come over to your apartment and, I ask you if you have a basketball. That was actually the impetus behind the entire show. That was the scene that started it all. That was before we'd ever conceived of it as a show or a short film or anything. I remember Rob coming over to my apartment and being like, hey, I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about this scene and just laughing my ass off. And you coming over and be like, I started thinking about this and I wanted to do something where we took a subject that is traditionally impossible to make comedic and figure out a way to make it funny. And that was the challenge. And you wrote it. Did you write it in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I wrote it that night.
You woke up and wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were like half asleep, half dreaming about it?
No,
I
was just up late, probably from all the
Okay.
coffee and cigarettes.
Let me ask you something about, this will be an interesting question because we just watched this 5 minutes ago and I can't remember whether or not we saw something that was in it. But in the one that we watched, which we switched it to a basketball, which I think isn't as good as coming over for sugar, but that the guys were waiting for you in the car. We shot a thing where you then hop in the car. Was that
Yes.
it was cut out, right?
We cut it. Yeah, we cut it.
We shot that in Pasadena because we needed bricks. And
Correct.
We couldn't find bricks anywhere.
I don't know why, but we did go to Philly, so I don't know why we didn't shoot it in Philly. I think because we added that scene or something like that,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
had to shoot it in LA. But
Yeah, but the original scene, that one scene, it was a little bit different from what we wound up using in the home movie. We did a bunch of improv on the day, but then when we wound up cutting it and having it work, we then took that scene almost verbatim and put it into the pilot that we shot for FX. In fact, your performances are very specific. We were recreating what we'd already
we were.
done.
And by the way, that I don't know if you remember this, but we also shot that scene. That scene we shot probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Over the course of like 2 years. We were just experimenting. We were just working it out. You know what I mean? It was like almost like working on a song.
Well, just trying to find ways to make terrible, terrible, terrible characters into funny, relatable people. And so
Yeah.
it just took time.
A lot of awkward pauses in that scene. I was very fascinated with the idea of like very, very awkward kind of comedy, just based on what were probably my biggest influences at the time, which was The British Office and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Just so much like awkward, uncomfortable comedy kind of stuff
Yeah.
that we...
I still like that.
Yeah, I like it too.
We
yeah,
do less and less of it.
We do
but
less and less of it,
But I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah, but we shot that scene multiple times. By the time we shot that pilot version for FX, that was probably the 10th time we shot it or something. I mean, it's crazy.
But that episode, we jammed a lot of stuff in that episode.
Story.
Yeah, a lot of story.
Mhm.
Some of it, a little bit problematic, but we've addressed that over the years. And, we are making a show about terrible people.
Yeah.
However, we have certain blind spots that we have admitted to over the years, and we try to ameliorate that as we go. But I think overall, from a structural standpoint, it seems to hold together pretty well.
This is a little off topic. Rob, I noticed you're talking so close to the microphone that your lips are like touching the little popcorn thing.
They are?
Yeah. You were talking like that. Your lips were like on the thing.
He wants to suck it, but it's too big.
You know what it is?
It's too
I
big.
think that my
Megan, is he
I
coming
think-
in hot or what?
No, I can't hear myself very well. And so I thought maybe that's just the way the mics are designed. So
I don't think
you're not seeing me right now, but I'm like really.
I mean, you were right. You were
Yeah.
nestled
you
in
should
there.
not have to crane your neck that far forward. You should not have to see a chiropractor after doing a podcast.
There's also got something kind of. It
And-
feels
and
very
to be clear,
radio.
I wasn't judging you, but feeling insecure about myself. Like, oh my god, maybe I'm
not close enough
I'm
to the
not
mic.
close enough to the mic. Yeah, because
I can hear you perfectly. I
yeah.
sound like I'm in a different room.
No,
Yeah.
not in my cans.
Oh, okay. Great.
Listener, when I say cans, I'm talking about headphones. That episode was directed by Mr. Rob McElhenney himself, who originally, when we shot the original version of the home movie, was not in the show at all. Just wanted to write and direct.
Correct.
Did not want to act in it. So Mr. David Hornsby, who eventually, of course, went on to play Rickety Cricket, played the original character, whose name was Rob.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob just wanted to direct. And
let's get into that for a second.
Yeah.
Now, why were you thinking you
Yeah.
were done with the acting thing? Because you then, obviously you've done Mac on the show. You're killing it in Mythic Quest. You've gone on to do some other work here and there. A few things, not a lot. I know it's not a priority for you, but but you were on Lost. I think you said a line on Lost. I think they cut you out of Game of Thrones. The point is, though, I know you like being in front of the camera. So why was it at that age? Let's go back to young Rob and be like, what was it that made you think, I'm just going to be behind the camera?
Well, I don't know that I was making that like clear of a distinction. I was just afraid that if there wasn't somebody behind, it's not like we had like playback or anything. So it was like holding the camera and looking at it. I was just afraid that we wouldn't have enough people
it was a
there.
QC issue for you. It was a quality control thing.
Yeah, like-
but also probably, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we were friends with Hornsby at the time, and Hornsby was just one of the funniest fucking
Yeah.
people we'd ever met. So I think you probably were like, well, somebody's got to be behind the cameras watching this thing as it goes
Yes.
down to make sure it's working, and then Hornsby can just play the part
I
'cause
also
he's a great
like,
actor.
and I'm really not saying this to out of any kind of like false humility. I'm really not. I never considered myself like a super funny performer. I always thought I could write funny stuff. I remember when I gave you that script and I was like, I don't think I could pull this off, but I feel like maybe the two of you could make the scene really funny. And then sure enough, you did. So then my thought was like, well, why not just populate it with really funny people that can make this dark material really funny?
Right.
And I could see myself even in this episode, for the first year or two, really trying to find my way. And in fact, it'll come up more and more often, but I saw things that Charlie was doing in that episode that I know that I like directly ripped off like
Mhm.
later in the season and then
Right.
like in
no,
season
we all
2.
know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's fine.
still-
It's like
We've all stolen each other's moves.
Yeah, we
over
share
the
the
years.
wealth.
Yeah.
It's osmosis was what happens. It's not intentional. It's not like, oh, I'm going to do that thing. It's
It's just like, oh, I saw somebody do that and it was funny. And in the moment, I'm trying to be funny and I just
Yeah,
like,
it just
steal
comes
it.
out. You're registering it subconsciously as funny,
Yes.
and then you sort of end up doing it, but emulating it.
And I didn't think I had enough experience at the time being funny. So I was just like around these really funny people and was like,
Well, you
I
were
don't-
always a funny guy, but you did not think you were a funny
Performer,
performer
yeah.
because as an actor, you'd done mostly drama at that point.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, but not even a lot of that. Mostly I'd done a lot of waiting tables.
yeah. Did it occur to you that maybe drama wasn't the way to go when you got cut out of every single fucking film you shot?
Yeah, I mean, there's evidence out there to really suggest that I should have given up a long time ago.
What were those movies that you got cut
but,
off?
But before you get into that,
Okay.
there was zero evidence to support you being a writer director. So
Yes,
it's,
even less.
It's
Even less.
interesting that you were like, yeah, this is
Lot of
this is
hubris.
gonna
Lot of
this is
hubris
gonna
in
be
that.
the thing.
Without a doubt. Yeah. No, there was no evidence to suggest that I should have succeeded at either of those disciplines. Any
a
of
lot
those
of
disciplines, really.
unsubstantiated confidence in your
Yes.
own ability to pull something off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that. Again, I think
which
that
is
goes back. We were talking
Show business in
Yeah.
general. You just summed it up. The only way that anyone ever does anything is to say, hey, I think I can do this with absolute, unless you wake up looking like a supermodel.
Yeah.
And then you're like, yeah, maybe people will want to watch my face. And
Yeah. If I can learn how to talk good, I know people want to look at my face.
Yeah.
So the rest of it will work itself
me
out.
start talking good.
Me start talking good after today, and then maybe.
movies come me way.
Yes.
I just
yes.
heard
Yeah.
Tina Fey I just heard her say this exact thing. She said, acting pretty much is 99% having a face that people want to look at.
It helps to have a great face.
She was saying is really attractive or just really interesting to look at. It doesn't necessarily
Totally.
have to be like really attractive, but it's just a face that people want to
absolutely.
look at.
It does do a lot of the work for you when you have a really compelling face. You know what I mean? When your face is constantly
Yeah.
scrunched up like Clint Eastwood's, you know what I mean? He is also
But he's
just
also
very
really
good.
handsome. But then you also can win the war of attrition if you're the only person that can like really put in Because you're willing to put in 12 hours a day and write everything and constantly keep creating it and then saying, well, if you want this, then I have to be in it. Then you kind of force your way in.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's what
a
I
lot
did.
of people do that.
That's what I did.
Yeah, more and more these days.
So I don't know that people want to look at my face, but they're being forced to.
I like your face. I think your face looks great on camera.
Oh, thanks.
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's more interesting than mine, certainly. I think I sort of have a neutral face, like kind of good looking, but not that good looking. And I feel like I have to go pretty big with my acting in order to remain interesting. I have to make big choices as an actor. I can't, like, I tried early on in my career to just kind of do that thing of like, okay, I'm just going to feel the feelings of the character and just know that it'll shine through my eyes. And what I saw was just fucking flat dead performances across the board. I was just like, oh my God, every fucking thing
I've done
I
a
do.
bit of that too, where you're like, I really was feeling that.
Yeah.
And really dropped into it. Then you watch it and you're like, well, there's nothing there.
Dead eyes.
Dead eyes.
Just dead eyes.
He's got dead eyes.
Yeah.
That's my Dr. Larry Myers impression.
Talking of Ethan Hawke.
I love Ethan Hawke. He came up to me and
Wait, sorry. So who?
Dr.
Larry Myers.
Larry Myers.
You remember he had the Beanie Babies.
Yes, I had gotten a job directing downtown theater, mostly
guys
naked
have
men.
told these stories to each
I know.
other for the last 15 years, and
This
it's a
is not
series of
for
them
you.
not remembering.
It's not
It's
for
not
you.
all for you, Rob. We're not performing for you. You're not directing our lives.
God, tell the story of Dr. Larry Myers.
that you've
Dr.
heard, that you've heard
Larry
10 times.
Myers. I told him I bumped into him. He had a play called Beanie Baby Addiction. Yeah,
right.
You remember this, right?
Yes, I
and
do,
then it was the kind of thing where it was like 90 monologues. I was like, maybe we could cut it down to like 8. And he's like, fine. And then
Fine.
Don't do too much director stuff. That's fine. I just need the money. And like then there would be like a kid who'd come over from New Jersey. He was like 18, and he'd do his monologue, and I'd be like, all right, let's talk about like who do you think you're talking to in the scene or whatever. And Larry would cut it and he'd be like, I think he should be wearing bicycle shorts and lifting weights. And then his dad would get him back in the truck and drive him to New Jersey, and we'd never see the kid again. Anyway, Larry stopped me on the street and said hi. And this was years ago. And I told him I was doing a play with Ethan Hawke. And he goes, Ethan Hawke has dead eyes. Just dead eyes. I'm like, I disagree, Larry. I disagree.
Did we somewhat...
Ethan Hawke, one of the best.
One of the best,
Lovely-
absolutely.
lovely
Fucking
guy.
incredible and an amazing artist.
Love
a
him.
true artist. Dr. Larry Myers, that makes me think of the...
Now that's the director, Rob.
of Sweet Dee's acting teacher.
Yes.
Was that character's name was Dr. Myers, wasn't it?
Yes.
And that was based on Dr.
Dr.
Larry Myers.
Myers. You know what I do think, though? Your voice is a part of it, too, right? Like Keanu Reeves always got a rap for like not being a great actor. Obviously, the man is a very good actor. He can carry like a major motion picture,
That's right.
and you will love that movie and be highly entertained. But because he has this affectation when he talks, that's gonna not sound great if you're doing like Shakespeare.
You're playing Hamlet.
Yeah, you're playing Hamlet. So it's just that voice. But the actual belief of the words that he's saying and the conveying of it is fine. It's just if you're stuck doing that, it's going to
I venture to say that people watch Keanu Reeves movies for his face more than his voice.
No, it's...
I'm saying the same thing. I'm saying his voice does a big part
But
of it.
I think it's a
His-
vibe
his
thing,
face
too.
is
It's
a
an
big part of it,
energy.
but-
You just like him.
Yes.
You just like him and you want him to succeed. And that in and of itself is like talent or just genetics. I don't know. He's compelling to watch. There's no doubt about it. This still makes me laugh to this day. Thinking of Keanu Reeves in Point Break, a movie that I absolutely love, where when they find out that that the FBI wants to put him undercover as a surfer, Keanu Reeves has, I believe this is the exact line, I could be wrong, or maybe I'm paraphrasing, but his line is, and said like this, "The FBI wants to pay me to learn how to surf?" Like as if it's like the subtext behind that is like, why would they pick me for that? No one's gonna buy that, bro. Like,
yeah.
Pick somebody else, man.
Who's
gonna believe I'm a surfer? Like,
What do they even like sound like?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do I even start? I'm from Idaho, man.
I'm a football player, dude. I don't know shit about surfing, bro.
He's Utah, Johnny Utah.
Johnny Utah.
Oh, Utah.
gonna say,
Idaho, Utah,
sounded
yeah,
right.
Well, no, I don't know. He's not Johnny Utah from Utah.
I
is
think
he?
so.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Is
It's
this character
it's
from
like a-
Utah?
No, it's like a code name.
No, it was his,
thing,
that
right?
was like his
Like,
nickname.
Yeah,
Utah.
yeah.
I think that was his fucking name. I think that was the character's actual name,
yeah,
Johnny
maybe.
Utah.
Johnny Utah?
Maybe.
What, did he play at the University of Utah? Well,
I don't-
hold on
I-
a second because they referenced that.
I can't remember. I
At one
can't
point,
remember.
Roach said they're playing football on the beach.
Yeah, he blows his knee out.
He
and that's
blows
what-
his knee
yeah.
out, and then Swayze says, Bodie says, "Don't you guys know who this is? This is Johnny Utah."
Yeah.
And then they remember him playing. Maybe it was at
That's right.
State or something
And they're
like
like,
that. They
oh,
just-
fuck yeah. And then he's in. And,
Then he's
you know,
in
and
the
that's
crew.
why. Not because he's anything like a surfer, dude. Like, the FBI wants to pay me to learn how to surf? Dude. I'm fucked. They're going to find out like right away, dude.
Bummer, dude.
Bummer, man.
Totally not bodacious.
Do you guys have any other stories about making the FX pilot that you think would be interesting to the listener? Because
well, we shot a good chunk of that in Philadelphia.
We did.
And then a good chunk of it in Los Angeles. And oddly enough, if anybody is interested enough to go back and experience this as we are, which is to watch the episodes again, you'll notice that Charlie's apartment looks like the set of a grade school production.
Oh, it looks like the Nightman Cometh
Yes,
set.
yes. Interesting fact, that was not a set. That was a real apartment that we painted apparently to look like a set.
Actually, I wonder if we even painted it, or if that's
No, we
or if
painted
we
it.
just dressed it.
Oh, you mean because maybe somebody else had painted it for some other show or something?
Yeah, someone might, because we were. I think
we painted
I don't think we were painting things yet or anything like that. I think it was like go in, dress the place.
be.
Think about that pilot. Think about the budget of that pilot.
Right.
We weren't painting.
We didn't have a ton of money. And in fact, there's a scene that happens, maybe no one else can notice it, but there's a scene that happens where I'm in the street with Carmen having, I think it's a part of the montage, and you can very clearly see that I still have like the remnants of a black eye. Which
from the
has not
makeup.
happened in the story yet, but we had shot the scene already. We had a strong makeup department, but I don't think we had good video playback, so I don't think you could see it
Yeah.
on camera.
Yeah. The whole thing was pretty
We were
low
finding
rent.
our way. Finding our way.
Pretty low rent.
Rob, two of your buddies from Philly are in that episode.
Yes. Dennis Hart and Dennis Hogan.
Yeah, and they play.
They play the construction
construction
worker
workers.
number 1 and construction worker number 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hogan and Hart, the classic comedy duo. I love
Yes.
it.
And
That
they
is,
love
by
it.
the way, a
They-
great comedy
they've come
duo.
back, yeah,
Yeah.
they've come back
They
in
write
quite a few
musicals
times.
and they.
I know they came back in the World Series
Yep.
defense episode, but have they been in other ones too? I think it was just that.
Maybe not.
wasn't
Maybe it was
I think
just
it was a
that, yeah.
callback to the same scene where they're like, they see me fighting the
Hey,
mascot.
that guy's
Yeah.
beating on the
Yeah.
the Philly
Is
fanatic.
that a hate crime? I don't think that's a hate crime.
I don't think that's a
Let's
hate crime.
pound on him anyway.
Should we pound on him anyway? yeah. Yeah, totally.
I just spoke with Dennis Hogan this morning.
Rob, why don't you tell people what my character's name is based on?
I have a number of friends named Dennis.
Yep.
And then one of my best friends' name is Tom Reynolds.
That's right.
And so I just sort of fused those together
Fused
for
those two
Dennis
together.
Reynolds.
Oh.
But who knows? I mean, we were knocking around all sorts of different ideas at the
No,
time.
that is what it
I think
was.
that's what it was,
No,
right?
absolutely. You had two close friends, Dennis Hart and Dennis Hogan,
Yeah.
who were in the episode. So you went with Dennis, and then you didn't want it to be their last name, so you did.
Yes.
So it was the shout out to old Tommy Reynolds.
And then we went with Mac, and then Charlie. Charlie was just Charlie. Because
Well, Mac was your name. I mean, I used to call
was
you
my-
Mac.
yeah, that
Everybody
was
called
my
you
nickname,
Mac. That was
yeah.
your that was your actual
I know.
nickname.
Well, because when we did the original like home version of it, we weren't changing our characters' names.
Yes. Right.
And my friends have had to stop calling me Mac because that's what they
Yeah.
used to call me. Because now it's weird to call me that.
I will say the one really great thing about me not changing my name is when someone yells at me in the street. I don't have that like, hey,
Yeah.
Kramer moment. I assume they are just such big fans of me as the person that it can fill my cup without knocking me down a peg.
Yeah.
We can talk about the name Sweet D,
Oh yeah.
which is a tad problematic.
It's got
as
an
well.
interesting etymology.
When I first moved to Los Angeles, I moved with Chris Backus, buddy of mine from New York, and we very early on, we were only out here for a few weeks. Chris is a very handsome person. I think we may have talked about Chris already on the first
We did.
podcast. Yeah, we were at this barbecue, and he met Mira Sorvino.
No, I was. I was
Yeah,
there too.
you were there.
No, that wasn't a barbecue. We went to a couple of Tom Morello's barbecues, but
No, this was a night where we played that game.
But that was not a
running
barbecue.
charades.
that was a game night
Yeah.
in West Hollywood at Samantha.
yes.
Was it her house?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, this was now 17 years ago or something like
Yeah.
that.
This would have been back in 2004.
Yeah, it was a group of friends, and Tom Morello was one of the people there. Tom Morello, who's the lead guitarist of Rage Against the Machine, Audioslave, one of the greatest musicians alive. His girlfriend at the time, now wife,
Yep.
everybody kept referring to her as
Sweet D.
Sweet D.
Sweet
And
D.
I always thought, God, that's an interesting, funny name. Sweet D. Why do they call her that? I don't know. And then I
Yeah.
kind of forgot about it.
Right.
For like 3 years. 3 years I forgot about it. And then when I sat down to write the show, I don't know why it popped in my head. I was like, maybe they call her Sweet D. That's kind of fun. Yeah, it's just a funny
Touching.
name.
Your lips are touching.
He wants to suck it. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, he wants to suck it
They're
so bad, but
literally
it's not the right
touching
shape. It's
they're
not the right
touching-
shape.
You don't feel that scraping against the front of your face, man.
Yeah,
Anyway, continue with this riveting story.
Yeah, he likes it.
It's soft.
Yeah, you're in it though. You're really.
It's like sucking a Muppet's dick.
Yeah.
You're still you're friendly with Tom. I'm friendly with Tom. I haven't seen
Yeah.
now they're married.
Yes,
right? I
and
mean,
so we've run
yeah.
into each other over the years, but again, like we didn't know that this stupid show was going to go forever. I also I didn't put it together that I was stealing this person's name, which of course I was.
I didn't put it together either, even though I knew who she was too.
Then I got word from Bacchus like, "Hey, Denise is not psyched," and I was like, "Fuck! Of course she's not psyched because I've." And it turns out that it was a nickname that Tom gave her.
Oh, it's
And
like
so it
his-
was like
right,
their
a very meaningful name.
Yes, and I've felt guilt-ridden about
And you
it for
ruined
years.
it.
I know,
You ruined
I know.
that special thing that they had.
I know.
Does that make you feel powerful that you were able to
No.
ruin something and
No,
someone
it
is
makes me feel
I'm
as
gonna
interesting?
come in here in your defense for a second.
Okay.
You don't own even if it's your personal pet. Now, if it was like every time you said the name, you put a picture of her face up there, like, but it's you don't own. That's not her. Their.
It is very
It's
specific.
just very specific, and
It
I
is
think what
very
was
specific,
happening,
yeah.
like in the beginning, nobody watched the show, so nobody gives a shit, and then all of a sudden it becomes popular, and then people are like, "Oh, I noticed that people call you Sweet
Oh,
D. Is
yeah.
it named
Oh,
after
yeah, I
that
see your
show?"
point.
And then
Yeah,
she's got to be like, "No, they stole
Well,
my
look,
name."
yeah, I have that issue with my good college buddy Brendan McPoyle, which
Yes, yes.
you know, we were doing
Whoops.
as like a cool shout out. Like, wouldn't it be fun to hear your name on the show? And then like,
Now it's
you know, because
now it's associated with
Yeah, the
not the most
characters-
mentally strong.
the characters take on their own life, and
Yeah, and then all
Brendan,
of a
I'm
sudden,
sorry, man.
Yeah.
Denise. I'm Tom.
Yeah.
Denise. I'm so.
Actually, it's
I'm
Rob's
really,
fault.
really
Brendan's
sorry.
Rob's fault. I tried to talk him out of it.
I don't even know you, Brendan, so I don't.
yeah, I don't give a shit.
Is that an earthquake?
Oh, we're having an
Oh,
earthquake
we're having an
right
earthquake.
now. Oh, whoa!
I don't think so. Were
No.
we?
Yeah, that was an earthquake.
that was an earthquake. It certainly sounded like one.
Yeah.
Was that you? Did you fart?
I didn't feel anything rumble though.
You didn't?
I heard
I
the
like-
rumble, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah, I heard a rumble, but I didn't feel it.
Listen, man, this is one of the newer buildings. It's probably very earthquake safe, and that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna say we had an earthquake. I think
It's more fun for listener at home if we've just been through an earthquake.
Yeah, that's
I-
exciting.
It certainly seemed like an earthquake to me.
Megan's looking it up.
I have been hit up multiple times, as I think you guys have on social media, about like
Mythic
who's
Quest,
the
about Mythic
thrice.
Quest.
No, nobody's talking about that. Everyone wants to know who the thrice fan is.
I don't know what thrice is.
And here's the thing. I don't know about you guys. I have never fucking heard of that band. I have never heard any of their music. I apologize if they're a great band and they've got fans out there. I'm not saying they're bad. I've never heard them before. So that was a choice made by the set decorator, the
Yeah,
art department
art-
on the
the
show
art-
to stick some thrice stickers up there. And we didn't know it was a band. We didn't know. And now all of a sudden there's all these thrice stickers, and God knows, has it done anything for their careers? Has it helped you guys out, thrice? I like to think so. Maybe. I don't know. Unless your music's shit, in which case you just simply don't deserve it.
Well, it can't
But
be
I
that
don't know.
bad if they have fans who are reaching out excited about the stickers. So, they're reaching somebody.
Right. They are reaching somebody. Well, good for you,
But
thrice.
Yeah. Thrice stickers everywhere.
Everywhere. I don't know what that band is. I know I apologize, thrice. I don't
I wonder
know.
how they named that band. They were like, Twice? No, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
What about
What's more than twice?
Thrice?
Oh, that's one more.
Yeah, one more. All
Yeah.
right.
What
done.
about four?
Twice? Nah, that don't work. That don't work.
into
We'll
it.
stick with thrice. All right.
Okay, thrice it
First
is.
things first, stickers.
All right.
Oh, another interesting thing about this episode, which we picked up on, is a lot of our music cues that we used for the rest of the run of the show.
We found then.
Yeah, which was from a library of music, by the way, which is rented out everywhere. Like you'll hear the Sunny transition
Yeah.
songs and the,
It's a very popular library of music. It's used in a lot of commercials and
It's
stuff
being
like
used
that.
in this podcast right now.
It is.
Well,
Yes.
Has that been decided?
Well, Meg's been cutting them
I don't
together
know.
and
It's,
using it.
it's above our budget.
I think we might want to consider using a thrice song. Okay, so let's
Did
talk
we
about
have
the
an
music.
earthquake, Meg?
No, we didn't. Somebody rolled the
Somebody
cart down
rolled
the
the
hallway.
car down the hallway. That's how shell-shocked we are in California. Like, we are ready at any moment for that shit to go down.
Yeah.
First earthquake I ever felt was in our editing suite on Seward, and we were cutting season 1 or season 2 of Sunny. You remember that?
You didn't feel any earthquakes prior to that?
No. It was a
Weird.
big one. I remember it was a big one.
I don't remember that.
I remember we had a big one, season 4, when we were shooting in Culver City. This is how I remember it because, I don't know if you guys have this, but my family is always like, oh, California, why would you want to live there? All the earthquakes and stuff. And you're like, it's not constantly earthquakes. You might have a little rumble here and there, but it's pretty fine. They're like, I don't know. I would never do it. And then my sister was visiting. And of course, like 1 week she's visiting because we have the biggest earthquake I've had.
Shit, really?
Just reinforcing their hysteria.
That's funny.
Do you guys remember the first time we saw the editor's cut?
Oh.
The abortion one, where it was full of record scratches.
Oh shit!
And
I don't remember that.
And we had hired like a composer for a minute.
Right. We tried to work with a composer, and then we realized this is taking way too long.
And as like young people making something, what you start to realize is anytime you make anything, the first time you see it, you're like, oh, this is a disaster.
Yeah, we've ruined everything. We've ruined our lives.
Only
Yeah,
because
we fucked it up.
the journey from what's in your mind to what's actually what you shoot, what it feels like on the day to what's actually there, there's a process of a different lens each time, right? It's one thing in your head, it's another thing on the page, it's another thing on the day.
You find it in the edit. I mean, and now luckily we've been doing this for so long and we've worked with the same editors for so long that now we walk into an editor's cut and we're like, well,
It's a lot closer.
we're
And
pretty much done here.
Yeah, well, we know how to get to where we want to be much quicker now.
Yeah.
But the first time we saw the cut of some of the stuff that we'd shot, and it was an editor who we hadn't worked with. He was a great editor, but he was doing very sort of commercial TV approach to it.
Yeah.
It was devastating.
Fair enough. Yeah. But we watched it and we were like, this is real bad.
We're done. Yeah, we're gone.
done.
I'm
It
going
was
back to
like,
the restaurant.
you'd say a line and be like,
Threw in some augas.
yeah.
You guys want to talk about the fact that we did the Rick Astley song before
Oh, yeah.
Rick rolling was a thing?
Did we invent that? No, I'm sure
I don't
that was
know.
going
I
I think
around.
like to
enough
think
people
that-
were watching the show for us to have invented it.
I don't know.
You never
I don't
know, man. You
I don't know.
plant a seed and
His songs are like, they're fun to sing in his like very specific style of singing. And my sister and I used to sing all of his songs whenever they would come on the radio. We'd be sitting in the back seat and we'd be singing. And yeah, I think of the kind of shit my sister and I used to do when we were kids. And it's exactly the kind of things that my kids do that drive me fucking nuts. And now I get it. I've told my parents, I'm like, I get it, guys. I'm so sorry. Like my mom used to make us sit at a different table, like at dinner. She'd be like, I can't. We had a kids table in our house because she couldn't stand us.
Yeah.
She hated us. We were insufferable. And she was right.
were
She
you
was right.
fighting all the time? Was that what it was? You were constantly battling?
No, we were loud and doing
You were full
voice.
of joy.
We were full of joy.
Oh,
Yeah, we were
that
making each
sounds
other laugh.
terrible.
We were making each other laugh. Well, it was just, it's like, I don't know, like my kids kind of do that. And I'm just like, can you just fucking eat? Can you just fucking eat?
Yeah.
I need you to go to bed so I can have at least an hour to myself. Get out of here. Finish your dinner, get in the bath, go to sleep, and leave me alone.
And you've said that now they just laugh at you when you say that. Like
Yeah, 'cause they
just
think I'm funny.
Yeah, they're
Because I am. and I have to explain that I'm not trying to be funny. And they're like, Daddy, you don't know how to be
so
angry and not funny.
funny, Daddy.
I'm like, son, I'm not joking. Get out of here.
Shut up, Hollywood.
Oh. Shut up, Hollywood. Shut the fuck up, Hollywood. Yeah. Yeah. What is the purpose of this for you, Rob? Why are you doing this podcast? What excites you about it?
Same reason we do the show. It's fun.
I don't know why we still do the show. So
I
you
have
can answer
fun.
that too. Oh, you're having fun.
I spend at least 40 to 50% of the day laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Well, where else are you going to do
I have a
that?
lot of fun on set. Once we get to set.
So you have not been having fun. By the way, listen,
the writing's hard.
We are in the middle of
writing is
writing
hard.
season 15 right now. We
Yeah.
are, week 4 or 5 into the writing process, and we are
Yeah.
avoiding it by doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
The writing is
The writing is the hardest
brutal.
part. It's the hardest part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's brutal. There are definitely moments of fun. And Charlie's
Yes.
right. When we're on set, when we're acting together, that's probably the most fun. But this is fun too. I like doing this podcast with you guys. I wouldn't say today's the best episode, but you know, you're gonna have your
Today's the one where we spoke the most clearly. Like we stopped down for a second to have an actual conversation from
Right.
time to time, which maybe is interesting to people. I don't know.
either. I just
I
don't
don't
feel like
know.
we were that funny today.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I feel this pressure to be funny because we're, you know, the show's funny.
I was laughing.
Were you laughing?
Meg was laughing. But you know, again, she doesn't have a microphone, so you can't tell.
Hmm.
We should have like a phone number, like old school phone number.
Like a hotline.
Yeah, where people can call and they can basically tell us how much they love or hate an episode.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe we could
I
pick
would
some
love a
choice ones.
live call. That sounds very fun to me.
One live call.
I'm
would
the
be
kind of
fun.
person that when the office phone rings and I answer it and it's like spam, I engage the
Oh, me
person
too. Yeah.
for 45 minutes.
As long as possible.
Where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd love to give you my credit card information. Can I know a little bit more about your company? And then I'd say, hey, it's not a problem that I work for the FBI, right? Like that's not an issue for you guys. And then they usually hang up right around that.
Oh, we have fun.
We have fun.
Charlie likes to have fun in any situation. You know,
most situations.
he'll take a situation that would irritate the average person and go, "How can I make this fun?"
Yeah.
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 2 wars.
2 wars?
Well, think about that. That was an episode that seems like it was 100 years ago, and we were talking about we were talking about podcasts. You guys were doing a podcast.
We were doing a podcast.
Right.
Yeah, it was basically you guys won that radio contest, Max Big Break, and we thought like these fucking knuckleheads, they don't do anything. They just talk and listen to themselves, and they do like stupid sound effects. And we were like, we have more interesting conversations than those guys, and so we were like, let's do a podcast.
That's kind of what this is. My face is all over this.
Yeah.
thing. I can't
Yeah.
stop.
Well, it's not so bad that you do it. What's funny is that it startles you.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it.
It's
Every
probably
once in a while I get too close and it
the
bonks
pop
me.
card. Well, also like you're probably your breath is like hitting the pop guard and splashing you back in the face. You're like like a cat getting sprayed by a spray bottle, you know, because you got
There's-
up on the counter.
There's just some spatial awareness issues happening with you, which is
Yeah,
like,
you
Yeah.
did. No,
You're
you
not
said I
quite
thought you
sure.
said your eyes were doing okay.
My eyes are all right.
Doesn't seem like it.
It's my nose.
it's your nose and lips that just don't know where to go.
Yeah, so your eyes are okay, but you don't know where your nose is.
I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do
Yeah.
you think that is?
I don't know.
You don't know where your nose is anymore?
Actually, jokes aside, what do you think it is? Like, why is your face actually continuing?
Why do you
to-
feel compelled to get that
touch the
close?
microphone?
Yeah. What is
Because I
that?
can't hear myself in my.
Oh, that's what it is. It's a hearing thing. You did mention
Yes,
that. you-
I do have
Get
a
that
terrible.
man's.
Whoa,
Get,
wow,
oh, there
that
we
was so
go.
loud.
There, he's blasted out.
That was so loud.
Shit, Megan is turning up the volume on Rob's
Wow.
earphones.
Oh my God,
today.
that's such a difference now. Because if I speak like this, that hurts my ears.
Yeah.
So now I would
Yeah.
stay back here.
okay.
Rob has
It's
hearing
been
damage.
solved.
Rob was telling us
Okay.
the other day he's got hearing damage. What do you
I do have
suppose that's
hearing
from? Is
damage.
that?
Oh, you
said it
were
was
saying
genetic,
that. Man, I really delete files. I completely forgot you said that.
but- Yeah, I remember that because we were talking about how our eyes are going, Charlie.
Yeah.
My eyes are great.
Yeah.
My ears are shit.
Uh-huh.
Can't hear anything. The good news about hearing loss is that if you can't hear it, it didn't happen. So you don't know what you don't hear. But with sight, you guys can see that you can't see what you're supposed to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The eagle's born out of thunder. Ah,
a different.
fly through the night.
Save it.
ah, the man boy. Ah,
Oh, you see him fly.
birds of war.